Hey guys, Ponce here, and today I thought I'd just make a quick Path of Exile video, another one, because I finally got my character to the point where the build that I've wanted to do for a while now sort of finally kind of works. It's more of a proof of concept. This by no means is a finalized, finished thing, so don't assume the effectiveness kind of ends here. In fact, it sort of gets exponentially better from here. So sorry to you guys who are very familiar with Path of Exile, but I'm going to explain this in slightly more detail so that everyone kind of understands what I'm talking about in terms of base mechanics and stuff as well. But what allows my Spectral Throw, freezing or cold snap build to actually kind of work is the fact that I just picked up this Voll's Protector. Up until now, I've just been using Freezing Pulse to level for quite some time. But I just bought this thing, and what Voll's Protector does is every time I crit an enemy, I gain a power charge. Now, I used to use something called the power charge on critical skill here. But the problem with this thing was every time I crit, I only had a chance of getting a power charge, and I could only get one power charge per skill. The deal with Voll's Protector is every single enemy I crit with any skill, let's say I use an AoE skill, I can get multiple power charges per skill use. And it's a 100% chance to get a power charge per crit. So basically I'll max out on power charges every single time I use Spectral Throw. And in addition to that, what power charges actually do is they give me a 50% extra chance to crit. It increases my base chance to crit by 50%. But the important part for this build is the fact that Cold Snap is an AoE cold spell that is normally limited by a 4-second internal cooldown. Now that would normally mean it wouldn't work too well with cast on critical strike, because basically every time I crit with this ability Spectral Throw, I have a chance, at this current level, 46% chance to cast Cold Snap. Now that's going to crit a lot. The problem with Cold Snap was 4-second cooldown. This doesn't bypass it. However, Cold Snap has a property where it says basically if I expend a power charge, there is no cooldown. But with Voll's Protector, I have infinite power charges. And like I was saying, this build is not complete primarily because my crit chance is very low right now. It's only about 20.5%. So this should get, I'm hoping to get about double this at least. And also I need, probably I'll replace this whatever life gain on hit thing with a lesser multiple projectile or something. So right now I'm only shooting out daggers in one direction. If I get multiple projectiles, I'll shoot daggers off in multiple directions. It's kind of all over the place. And ultimately the other item I want to get is Voll's Devotion, I believe it's called. It's a necklace where every time I get a power charge, and if you remember from earlier, I have infinite power charges, I get an endurance charge. And what endurance charges do is they give you flat damage reduction just across the board. However, I want to chain that off with another item, or another skill called Cast When Damage is Taken. So basically every time I take about 440 damage, I'm going to link it to something called Immortal Call, which will make me immune to damage for about 0.5 seconds per endurance charge I have. And I cap out at 3 endurance charges unless I spec into it, which I might. So basically, I will always have this 1.5 second, every time I get hit, I'll have this 1.5 second invulnerable to physical damage buff on me. So I'm going to be largely invulnerable to physical damage. I just have to kind of watch out for either getting one-shot or elemental damage, which incidentally are the more dangerous things in this game. But it's nice to be immune to physical damage. So why don't I show you briefly what it's going to be, what it looks like in action. I'm just going to warn you guys, it's very RNG dependent right now. Like sometimes it's not going to do anything, and then suddenly it's just going to kill everything. That's just kind of how it works with a low crit chance. But I'd like to show off just kind of the potential. And like at higher crit rates, I have a diamond flask, so I'm just going to hit that thing and show you what it's like when you have a really high crit rate. Go this way. I'm going to get a really big group of monkeys. You guys should probably do the trick. It's not actually that big. As you can see, I need them to cluster more. Basically how this works is see, there we go. If the skill crits once in the beginning, it means all the other instances of it, or most of the other instances of it, are going to crit. So basically, see, nothing's happening right now if I'm not actually critting. But the instant it crits, just everything explodes around it, and just kind of everything dies. And it'll be a lot easier to use this, especially when I have lesser multiple projectile, or greater multiple projectile. I'm not sure which I'll use. Just everything dies straight up the middle where the daggers are critting. So I'm going to find a really... in fact, let's just kill this boss mob that's following me around real quick.
Life is fleeting.
And I'm going to use the diamond flash to show you guys how quickly it can just sort of incinerate, or not incinerate, it's a cold damage spell, but like basically kill everyone once I use this. A really big pack of monkeys, yeah, you guys are doing good. You just like everything, you know, it wore off there. But as you can see, very crit rate dependent. And it's also not very good, or as good against single target mobs. I'll address that issue later. But yeah, as you can see, if I get that crit rate up, this is going to kill everything. Let's pick that up. And I'm going to go back to town just so I can talk about things a little bit. Now, I realize this is similar to sort of most likely a discharger build that do similar things. The difference is, like, I guess I could have done a discharge build, but I didn't really want to have to always stand close to things. That felt kind of scary. And actually, the other thing was, I originally wanted this build to be a bow rain of arrows build, but then I decided, Spectral Throw probably works slightly better, and I get to hold a shield, so this extra survivability. But there you have it. That's sort of this build in a nutshell. Hopefully you found this at least somewhat interesting. It's sort of a very unusually synergy-ish build. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing ever, but whenever I make a build, basically in my mind, it has to, the concept has to be fun and sort of novel, and I've never really seen anyone do anything like this. I'm sure someone has, but not that I've seen. So see you guys around, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.